Welcome to the world of Warcraft.
At the time of this recording, the Warcraft franchise is approaching its 30th anniversary. And with the war, please be good within, promising to be somewhat of a renaissance for Warcraft lore.
My hope, our dear hope, is that you can see when it comes to WoW storytelling, we ain't screwing around. We are playing for all the marbles. We are working to establish a thundering heartbeat for this franchise.
What better time then to start looking back at the whole thing, with the good, the bad, and the utterly disastrous. I invite you to join me on the Warcraft lore journey. First, a bit of background. Our tale begins in the early 90s with the inception of a small company called Blizzard Entertainment, named Silicon and Synapse at the time, but because people associated the word silicon with breast implants, they changed their name to Chaos Studios. Then they got into legal trouble with Chaos Technologies, who demanded $100,000 for the name. So instead, they ended up just looking through the dictionary for a cool word that wasn't taken. And thus, Blizzard Entertainment was born in May 1994. And only 6 months later, they would release their first massive success, Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. Enough background. This video covers the lore of Warcraft, Orcs and Humans and its associated game manuals.
In the Age of Chaos, two factions battled for dominance. The kingdom of Azeroth was a prosperous one. The humans who dwelled there turned the land into a paradise. The Knights of Stormwind and the clerics of Norsha Abbey roamed far and wide, serving the king's people with honor and justice. The well-trained armies of the king maintained a lasting peace for many generations. Then came the Orcish hordes. No one knew where these creatures came from, and none were prepared for the terror that they spawned. Their warriors wielded axe and spear with deadly proficiency, while others rode dark wolves as black as the moonless night. Unimagined were the destructive powers of their evil magics derived from the fires of the underworld. With an ingenious arsenal of weaponry and powerful magic, these two forces collide in a contest of cunning, intellect, and brute strength, with the victor claiming dominance over the whole of Azeroth. Welcome to the world of Warcraft.
Behold the kingdom of Azeroth, the stage on which our epic conflict shall transpire. Its histories written down by a knight of the realm, one Sir Lothar, armsman of the Brotherhood of the Horse, and loyal warrior in the king's service. The book starts in the year 559, during the prosperous reign of King Rin III and his beloved wife, Lady Varia. The court conjurer couples with a mysterious traveler. The woman gives birth to the child sorcerer Medivh, then disappears, leaving the boy in the care of the royal court. 5 years pass. The king and queen have a child of their own, Prince Lane. It is a day of grand celebration in the kingdom, with many great feasts and tournaments to mark the occasion. 7 years pass, bringing young Medivh, who is now almost 12, to the age of ascension. He is expected to be given the title of apprentice conjurer, but on the eve of the occasion, dark dreams torment him as he wakes up in a cold sweat.
I will transform you
His father reached out, but at the slightest touch, the child's eyes burned with hellish fire as magic's unimagined coursed through his body. The conjurer used his own powers to contain him, together with 100 clerics. Time seemed to stand still. The boy was screaming in unholy agony when all of a sudden, like snuffing out a candle, both father and son collapsed. The conjurer was dead. Medivh fell in a deep sleep. King Rin and the abbot of Northshire agreed he should be taken to the abbey and cared for. 6 years pass. Young Lane too reaches his age of ascension. Tens of thousands gather at the ceremony that will crown him Prince of Azeroth. Among them is a most unexpected guest. Medivh had returned, awakened from his long sleep. He gifts the young prince a magical hourglass. As long as its sands would never empty, the kingdom would never fall. 6 more years pass, but the lands grew sick. Crops were failing, people were falling ill, and on one grim morning, Prince Lane saw the hourglass almost empty. As he rushed to his father's side, they witnessed the last few grains trickle down, followed by a crashing sound coming from the palace gates. Hideous green creatures swarmed the castle, leaving a trail of murder and destruction in their wake. They were barely pushed back. 1 year later, Lane becomes King of Azeroth and his mission is clear. He must rid the lands of these foul creatures who now inhabit the festering swamps of the east. The beasts call themselves Orcs. Cruel, sadistic, and vile, they would slay anyone they encountered. Men, women, children, none were spared. After 10 long years of skirmishes that kept the Orcs confined to their swamp, the mysterious traveler returns, revealing a truth most dire. Her son Medivh is the one who brought the monsters into this world through a magic gateway. He cannot control them, but the dark powers that now course through his veins twisted him into insanity. In a desperate attempt to stop him, she nearly perished. Banished and drained, a warning is all she can offer now. Azeroth is in peril. The Orcish hordes grow bolder. Their clans have united under a great war chief who seeks complete domination of these lands. King Lane and his people must prepare for war. But wars have two sides, and the Orcs have a story of their own. The half-orc Garona has both Orcish and human blood coursing through her veins. This unique heritage brought her to the position of scribe and chief interpreter to the Shadow Council. These are the histories she humbly preserved. The Orcs come from another world. A harsh place where they waged war for generations. Their strength and tenacity were unmatched as they crushed all the weaker races that dared to defy them. But with no challengers left, they turned on each other. Although the Necrolites were pleased with the carnage, the Warlocks were wise enough to realize this conflict might doom their people, for the land itself began to wither and die. The Orcs needed a new enemy, and so in their research, the Warlocks discovered a mysterious rift, a tear in the very fabric of reality that, if controlled, could serve as a portal to a new dominion. A meeting was arranged with all the clan leaders where they were convinced to end their war for 1 year. In exchange, they were promised the conquest of a whole new world. When the time came, a small force would be sent through the rift to scout these new lands and report their findings. Yet as they entered the gateway, what awaited them on the other side was beyond their wildest imagining. This world's true race were a bunch of small, pink, frail creatures that offered little to no resistance. But somehow they possessed great riches, grain, livestock, and trinkets of a craftsmanship unknown to the Orcs. They were easily slaughtered. And anything that could not be eaten or packed was set to the torch. Soon this whole realm would belong to the Horde. In Orcish culture, only the strong survive. All politics and dispute are settled in open debate, and each Orc has the right to make his voice heard as long as he can back it up with fact or steel.
Zug zug.
Strength and honor are held in high regard, and a decisive victory in battle brings their warriors great glory. Over the coming years, the Orcs learned much about their new quarry. The creatures called themselves humans, and their homeland was named Azeroth. Even though their own prosperity had made them weak, some among their ranks attempted to fight back. A great castle was their stronghold, and so the chieftains decreed it must be destroyed. The assault started well, the guards could not hold them back. But the tides of battle shifted once great armored soldiers mounted on strange muscular beasts had arrived. They charged through the front lines, forcing the Orcs to retreat. "15 years have passed since that shameful defeat. Some chieftains craved vengeance, others wanted the portal closed. Yet out of this chaos arose one Orc, the great war chief Black Hand. His cruelty and dominance in battle were only overshadowed by his lust for power. The scattered clans finally united under one banner to bring about his ultimate goal: the complete destruction of the human race. The age of chaos is at hand." Besides the two factions, the manual also describes the environment of Azeroth, a rich world filled with fantasy creatures. Giant scorpions and spiders, cunning bandits, animated skeletons, sinister slimes, powerful elementals of fire and water, hell-spawned demons, savage trolls, and newly arrived ogres who also came from the Orcish homeworld. Alright, that was it for the manuals. Now when it comes to the lore of the actual game, the story follows two campaigns in which you play as either a human commander or an orc warlord. It has two different endings that directly contradict each other.
I win!
No, you don't.
So we're gonna go with the version that's also acknowledged in the sequel. And with that out of the way, our story begins with the human commander receiving his orders.
As a test of your abilities, the king has appointed you as regent over a small parcel of land. You are to build the town into a farming center of no less than 6 farms. Construction of a barracks for defense is also advised, as our scouts have reported orc patrols in the area. My lord?
Of course the men got to work building the farms.
We are under attack!
They successfully repel the orc attack. And finally they construct the barracks.
Work completed.
But unbeknownst to them, the orcs were making preparations of their own.
Blackhand has assigned you to an outpost in the swamps of sorrow. Your task is simple enough that even the war chief feels that you are capable of it. Construct at least 6 farms. Only a fool would leave his treasures unguarded, so you must also build a barracks for the defense of these farms. Your command, Master.
So the orcs built farms as well.
The pale dogs approach.
They fight off the humans. And they finish the barracks too.
Work complete.
Meanwhile at the human camp, their leader is getting a new briefing.
The orcs around Grand Hamlet are becoming increasingly brazen in their attacks. The king is sending you, along with a small detachment of troops, to rally the people and defend the town against all opposition.
Therefore, the human forces head to Grand Hamlet,
Yes, my lord.
where they put up a valiant defense and free the town from the orcish threat. However, the orcs were also on the move.
Like the stinging of a wasp, the attacks from the humans grow more and more bothersome. You have been assigned to a small outpost on the borderlands of the Swamps of Sorrow. You are to defend our lands from the incursions of these ravenous dogs by crushing any opposition that you encounter.
As commanded, the troops march towards the borderlands, where they stop the human encroachment and secure their position for good. Yet the humans were planning an even bolder attack.
With Black Hand's raiding parties routed, now is the time for us to secure a lasting peace in the area. You must seek out the orcish outpost of Kairos that lies deep within the Swamps of Sorrow and destroy it.
A dangerous mission as the men venture deep within the swamp.
Your will, sire?
They overpower the orcish defense and destroy Kairos. But even with their outpost gone, the Horde was anything but defeated.
The humans are growing strong in Grand Hamlet. You must prepare and lead a force to destroy Grand Hamlet and all that dwell there. Blackhand will brook no survivors. These humans must be taught a hard lesson in the ways of humility.
Ready to crush their enemies, the orcs begin the assault. They slay the guards and raze Grand Hamlet. Following this, the commander's troops are recalled to their homeland and told to prepare for a rescue mission.
It has been some 20 months since Sir Lothar, one of the Crown's greatest heroes, led an expedition into the Dead Mines to search for the lost Tome of Divinity. They were never heard from again. However, the Great Knight has recently appeared to the Abbot of Northshire in a vision, battered and pleading for assistance. King Lane has ordered you to find Sir Lothar, heal him, and bring him and any other survivors back alive.
They make the long journey back and enter the mines. Accompanied by priests to heal the wounded,
Deo gratias.
they cut their way through some ogres that were inhabiting the tunnels, and they rescue Sir Lothar. The same Sir Lothar who wrote Chronicles of the War in Azeroth. Must have a thing for books. Anyway, with Lothar safe, the humans exit the mines. Unaware, they barely avoided an encounter with the Orcs.
Blackhand's daughter Griselda has run off with the outlaw Turak's band of ogres. Our wolf riders have tracked them to the dungeons hidden beneath the dead mine. Find Turak's band of rebellious pigs and kill them all, including Griselda. She must not disobey the commands of her father, ever again.
So the orcs now too entered the dead mines, but the human forces had already left. With necrolytes wielding dark magics at their side, they decimate the remaining ogres, kill Turok, and of course Griselda too. Yet while the orcs are distracted, the humans see an opportunity.
The Forest of Elwyn is a strategic key to securing the borderlands. An outpost near the southeast edge of the forest will serve as your stronghold. The king has assigned one of his knights to aid you, so that your task of ridding the area of Blackhand's dark minions may be more readily completed.
With new reinforcements, the commander makes for the borderlands, where they defeat the orcish invaders, and despite the Horde's efforts from Mission 2, the orcs are driven out of the borderlands, for now.
The recently established outpost near the Red Ridge Mountains is under siege. A group of raiders have been dispatched to assist you in taking back the outpost and crushing the human opposition. Seek out and completely destroy their encampment, putting an end to this threat for good.
Instead of focusing on the borderlands attack, the warlord directs his efforts to a different front and heads to Red Ridge. There, his warriors slaughter the human intruders and regain control over Red Ridge. Meanwhile, the human forces face an unexpected betrayal.
The monks of Northshire Abbey are under siege by a band of warriors that have been convinced by enemy agents to fight against the crown. Ride hard and fast. When you have secured the abbey and beaten back these treacherous curs, you must then move to destroy the enemy at their source.
Of course, the commander and his forces ride to save Northshire.
The town is under attack!
There, they confront the traitors and show them the meaning of justice. Northshire was liberated, but the Horde was ready for another attack.
The humans of Sunnyglade have become fat and lazy with their prosperity. The town is like a ripe plum waiting to be plucked. You will march upon their weak human armies and smash them to pieces. Fail me, and I will have your head on a pike at the gates of Blackrock Spire.
Thus, the Orcish troops march upon Sunnyglade.
Lothar,
They're slowed down by an encounter with some beasts of the forest, but no creature will stand in their way as they encircle and conquer Sunnyglade. But the humans won't just sit idle, they are fast to react.
A raiding party has completely overrun the village of Sunnyglade. Our scouts report that the survivors have been taken to a hidden Orcish compound to serve as slaves. You must destroy the enclosure to open a path for their escape. The rebuilding of Sunnyglade is also of the utmost importance, as you will need their assistance in destroying the Orcish slavers.
And so the human army begins another rescue mission.
There are enemies nearby.
The forest creatures give them some trouble as well. But when they reach Sunnyglade, they defeat the Orcs and rebuild the settlement. In the light of this failure, the Orc warlord decides it is time to take matters into his own hands.
The time has come for you to seize control of the Orcish hordes for yourself. Blackhand has become foolish in the deployment of his personal troops and has left an opening that you can now exploit. A key outpost in the Black Morass is the core of Blackhand's supply lines. The complete destruction of this outpost will disrupt his power base long enough for you to secure his overthrow.
So the Orcish warriors return to the Black Morass, determined to end Blackhand's reign. They overpower the guards, kill those still loyal to the war chief, and destroy the outpost. In the meantime, the humans were ready to deal with yet another threat.
A new crisis has arisen that threatens to end the lives of all who would serve the king. The evil warlock Medivh has begun draining the soul of the land itself to increase his dark powers. You must destroy him before he summons enough energies to devastate all who would oppose him. Beware his mastery of the black arts, for legend speaks of his ability to command the demons of hell.
Together with a detachment of his bravest soldiers, the commander enters Medivh's accursed tower,
My liege?
where they vanquish his minions, put a stop to his vile sorcery, and finally slay him once and for all. Meanwhile, in the swamps, the warlord's coup is a resounding success.
The destruction of Blackhand's outpost has left him in a weak position. The Shadow Council, sensing your rise in power, orders the assassination of Blackhand and elevates you to the position of war chief. The half-orc spy, Garona, has been discovered by the humans of Northshire Abbey and imprisoned there. You must find her and then completely destroy the Abbey to protect her secrets.
Now that Blackhand is dead, and with the might of the Horde under his command, the new war chief begins the offensive. His warriors enter Northshire. Rescue Garona, yes, that Garona, and destroy the entire abbey, leaving no witnesses. A terrible blow for the human kingdom, but their knights are ready to respond in kind.
King Lane has ordered a full assault upon the Orcs. demanding that this plague that spreads across the kingdom be eradicated. To the east of the borderlands lies the Black Morass, where the Orcish hordes make their encampments. You are to lead an army into this foul region and destroy every trace of their dark presence.
Emboldened by their king's words, the human forces strike deep into Orcish lands.
The humans draw near.
Yes.
They defeat the green beasts and conquer their settlement. But this victory would be short-lived.
The time is right to burn the human occupation from our land. There are human outposts to the south that pose the greatest threat to our security. The glories of combat will be yours as you personally lead the armies that will reclaim your homelands.
Determined to wipe out all human invaders, the war chief's troops return to the Black Morass.
The orcs are approaching.
The humans pay dearly for their incursion, as their structures are dismantled and they're forced to fall back. Yet their troubles are still far from over.
Runners have arrived and informed you of grave news. King Lane lies dead this day, assassinated by the treacherous Garona at Stormwind Keep. Scouts report that deep within the Black Morass lies the Temple of the Damned. No peasants dare approach the vile temple, and only the bravest of your soldiers have agreed to accompany you on this mission. You must strike boldly and without air, for there will be no reinforcements.
King Lane has been assassinated by Garona, and the humans are starting to run out of options. Desperate to deprive the Horde of their dark magics, the remaining soldiers enter the vile Temple of the Damned.
Your command?
Slaying the cultists and putting an end to their dark rituals. But it might have been too little, too late.
You have tasted victory, and the craving for more is upon you. It is clear that one decisive blow to the humans will make the total and complete domination of this race a simple matter. Your spies have gathered intelligence that points to an encampment near the center of the human lands, where their knights and soldiers are sent to train. None shall survive!
Ready to dismantle the human armies, the Horde has its sights on their training grounds, where they kill the instructors and knights, and burn the encampment to the ground. But despite the Horde's advance, the commander and his troops have not given up yet.
The sister towns of Rockard and Stonard are all that stand between the forces of the kingdom and Black Rock Spire. After conferring with your war chiefs, the path to victory lays clear. You must destroy Rockard and Stonard, thereby cutting off all lines of support and supplies, so that the final offensive can be made upon Black Rock Spire.
Hoping that cutting their supply lines will stop the Horde offensive, the humans attack the twin towns.
Your bidding?
Slaying any green beasts they see. And with the aid of their powerful spellcasters,
We're being attacked!
they leave Rockard and Stonard in ruins. But even with their supply lines disrupted, the Orcs were relentless.
The final march to Stormwind Keep is at hand. Only two pathetic settlements in the Twin Cities, Goldshire and Moonbrook, stand in the way of the awesome juggernaut your cruel leadership has created. The humans have proved to be amusing opposition, but the hour of doom has come for them.
Sensing victory is close, the Orcish armies swarm the last two remaining towns. They slaughter the citizens and use their dark sorcery
We are under attack!
to completely obliterate Goldshire and Moonbrook. Knowing they are humanity's last hope, the commander and his champions prepare for one final push.
Blackrock Spire stands before us. The skies above the reeking swamp fill with the gathering thunderheads that spell doom for the loser in this final confrontation. Tension hangs like a heavy cloak on your shoulders as your troops prepare for the battle ahead. Destroy the stronghold and those who would seek to defend it, and Azeroth will be freed forever.
But despite their best efforts, the commander's heroic campaign to save the kingdom ends in disaster.
Your failure in battle may be the death knell for Azeroth.
With hope now truly lost, Stormwind trembles before the might of the Horde.
Stormwind Keep is ours to take! The Orcish hordes gather like buzzards to carrion as the moment of destiny is close at hand. A low growl fills the air as your wolf riders whip their savage mounts into a frenzy. The earth shakes as catapults are loaded and moved into position. The fires of the burning rubble about you dance in your eyes as you gaze upon the pristine white towers of Castle Stormwind. All of Azeroth will be yours!
And so, from the bloody culmination of this conflict, the war chief comes out victorious.
With the decimation of the human forces, the sacking of their castle was a simple matter. The taking of Stormwind has kept your warriors in good spirits, and the offerings of gold and jewels that they bring to you are ample tribute to your leadership. Wine flows like blood, and the smell of freshly cooked meat fills you with satisfaction as you begin your victory feast. The countryside is ablaze with bonfires as groups of battle-hardened orcs celebrate the domination of this land with songs of war and victory. You have finally assumed your rightful place as ruler of this realm and as war chief of the Orcish clans.
And that was it, the lore of Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. It's not some literary masterpiece, but at the time no one could have imagined that this game will end up morphing into a multi-billion-dollar franchise. It's a simple tale of war and betrayal. And that was more than enough for the backdrop story of an RTS. In fact, when the team started working on this project, all they knew was that they wanted to make a game like Doom 2. This one was sci-fi, so what else do the nerds like? Medieval fantasy. They drew inspiration from many popular titles of the time: Lord of the Rings, Conan, Excalibur, Dungeons and Dragons, and of course Warhammer, even to such an extent that they briefly considered collaborating with Games Workshop to make it a full-on Warhammer game. But in the end they decided to go with an original idea instead. This is Samwise Didier, a man responsible for many of the drawings I've shown you today. But even more importantly, a man who loved Dungeons and Dragons. And his D&D character was named Warcraft. Yeah, I'm not kidding. The pun was that Warcraft is supposed to be the opposite of witchcraft. But the team liked it, because it was cool. So they decided to roll with it, and that's how Warcraft got its name. This is Bill Roper. He was hired as a voice actor for the project. When he met with Glenn Stafford, the sound guy, in a little closet with egg crates on the walls, he asked him, "Alright, what's the script?" And Glenn was like, "Script?" So Bill had to improvise the whole thing.
Yeah, on the fly. Yeah, so
on the fly.
I wrote some stuff down, and then it was like, in the age of chaos, 2 factions battled for dominance. The Oites and the Orcish hordes, right? And just like writing all this stuff down, just like off the top of my head, writing it down. Welcome to the world of Warcraft. It's like,
wow. Did you have to run it by people or
no?
No.
I just wrote it. I ran it by Glenn. I'm like, what do you think? That sounds great. Okay, let's do it. Right? And recorded it, and then I guess they were like, that sounds epic. They're great. Sounds great. Welcome to the world of Warcraft.
Welcome to the world of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's him. The narrator, voice actor turned writer. And where did he get inspiration from? Dungeons and Dragons, of course. It's crazy how much early Warcraft is just one elaborate D&D campaign. But yeah, one of Bill's old campaigns gave him the idea that orcs could be much more than mindless beasts. His mindset was, every villain is the hero of his own story, and he made sure the orcs of Warcraft would have their fair share of the spotlight. I also have a feeling the humans aren't done either, because there's that sequel.
But that is a story for another time.
If you made it this far, thanks for watching. This is my very first video, so if you enjoyed it, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, all the things. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.